Everything that has ever stood in your way was trying to become your way, and you didn't know it. That failure, that humiliated you, that rejection, that broke your heart, that obstacle that stopped you cold, that setback you never saw coming, that painful thing you would give anything to undo. You experienced all of it as something blocking your path, something in the way of the life you wanted. But the Stoics discovered something 2,000 years ago that almost no one understands. That the obstacle in your path is not separate from your path. The thing standing in your way is the way. The pain, the failure, the setback, these are not interruptions of your journey. They are the road itself, if you know how to walk it. And the person who learns this transforms every obstacle they will ever face from something that stops them into something that advances them. If you've ever felt blocked, stuck, defeated by something that stood in your way, type "the obstacle is the way" in the comments right now. Not as a slogan, but as a decision. A decision to stop seeing your obstacles as your enemies and start seeing them as your teachers. Because that single shift in how you see the hard things is the difference between a life spent being defeated by obstacles and a life spent being forged by them. Do that, and let's walk this road together. The Stoics lived in a world that gave them no shortage of obstacles. Marcus Aurelius ruled an empire through plague, war, betrayal, and constant crisis, writing his private reflections by candlelight in military camps. Seneca was exiled, threatened, and eventually ordered to take his own life by a tyrant. Epictetus was born a slave, was crippled, and built his entire philosophy from a life that began with nothing. These were not comfortable men theorizing about hardship from a place of ease. They were people who faced enormous obstacles and discovered, through direct experience, that the obstacles themselves could be transformed into the very material of a great life. And out of that discovery, they built one of the most powerful ideas in the history of human thought, that what stands in the way becomes the way. Today, I'm going to give you this idea in full, not as a comforting slogan, but as a real, practical philosophy for transforming the hardest things in your life into the sources of your greatest strength. I'm going to show you why obstacles feel like they're blocking you, how the Stoics learned to see them completely differently, and exactly how to take the pain, failures, and setbacks in your own life and convert them into power, wisdom, and growth. This is not about pretending that hard things don't hurt or forcing a fake positivity onto genuine suffering. It's about a deeper truth the Stoics understood, that the obstacle, faced rightly, becomes the path forward, and that the very things trying to stop you can become the things that make you. Let's begin with the heart of it, the insight that changes everything. When an obstacle appears in your life, your instinctive reaction is to see it as something separate from and opposed to your path, something in the way of where you're trying to go. You wanted to move forward, and this thing is blocking you. You wanted to succeed, and this failure stopped you. You wanted to be happy, and this pain ruined it. In this way of seeing, the obstacle is the enemy of your journey, an interruption, a problem to be removed so you can get back to your real life. But the Stoics saw something radically different. They understood that the obstacle is not separate from your path, it is your path. The hard thing is not blocking your journey, it is your journey, the actual terrain you're meant to walk. And this shift, from seeing the obstacle as blocking the way to seeing it as being the way, transforms your entire relationship to every hard thing you'll ever face. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Here it is, the line that names the whole philosophy, from Marcus Aurelius himself. Read it slowly, because it contains a paradox that, once understood, changes how you meet every difficulty. The impediment to action advances action. The thing that blocks you moves you forward. How can this be? Because the obstacle, when met with the right response, becomes the very thing that develops you, teaches you, strengthens you, and advances you toward who you're meant to become. The failure that stops your plan forces you to develop resilience, creativity, and wisdom you'd never have gained otherwise. The pain that blocks your happiness deepens you into a person of compassion and strength. The setback that ruins your path opens a different path you'd never have found. What stands in the way becomes the way not by magic, but because the obstacle, rightly used, becomes the material of your growth. The blocking thing becomes the advancing thing. This is the core of Stoic power. Now let me be precise about how this transformation actually works, because it is not automatic and it is not magic. The obstacle does not become the way on its own. It becomes the way through your response to it. The same obstacle can destroy one person and forge another, and the difference is entirely in how each responds. The person who responds to an obstacle with despair, resentment, and defeat is genuinely blocked by it. For them, the obstacle really does stop the journey. But the person who responds to the same obstacle with acceptance, creativity, and the determination to find the way through or around or forward is advanced by it. The obstacle itself is neutral. Your response is what determines whether it blocks you or becomes your way. And this is tremendously empowering, because it means the power was always in your hands, not in the obstacle, but in your response to it. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. This is the foundation the whole philosophy rests upon. You cannot always control whether obstacles appear. They will, constantly, throughout your life, no matter what you do. But you have complete power over your response to them, over how you interpret them, over what you choose to do when they arise. And since it's your response, not the obstacle itself, that determines whether you're blocked or advanced, this means the outcome was always within your control. The Stoics understood that we waste enormous energy raging against the obstacles themselves, trying to control whether hard things happen, which we cannot, while neglecting the one thing we can control: our response, which is where all our real power lies. Stop fighting the fact that the obstacle appeared. Focus entirely on your response to it, because your response is the thing that turns what stands in the way into the way. Let me now walk you through the specific ways obstacles become the way, because understanding the mechanisms makes the philosophy real and usable. The first way is that obstacles develop your strength. Just as a muscle grows only through resistance, a person grows only through obstacles. The person who has never faced difficulty remains weak, untested, fragile. They've never had the resistance that develops strength. But every obstacle you face and work through builds your resilience, your capability, your inner strength. The obstacle is the resistance that makes you stronger. Without it, you'd stay weak. So when you face a hard thing, you're not just being blocked, you're being offered the resistance that could develop you into a stronger person. The obstacle is a gym for the soul, and the difficulty is the weight that builds you. The greater the difficulty, the more glory in surmounting it. Skillful pilots gain their reputation from storms and tempests. Epictetus captures how obstacles develop and reveal our capabilities. The pilot who has only sailed calm seas is untested and unremarkable. No one gains skill or reputation from ease. It's the storms and tempests, the difficulties, that develop the pilot's skill and prove their capability. Your obstacles are your storms, and rather than being things that merely block you, they're the very conditions in which you develop and demonstrate your greatest strengths. Without difficulty, you'd never know what you're capable of, never develop the skill that only hard conditions can produce. The person who has navigated real storms has a strength and capability the calm sea sailor will never have, so don't wish only for calm seas. Understand that your storms are developing you into someone the calm seas never could, and that the difficulty you're facing is building a strength you could gain no other way. The second way obstacles become the way is that they teach you what nothing else can. Obstacles are among the greatest teachers a human being will ever have. Success teaches little. It just confirms that what you did worked. But obstacles, failures, and setbacks teach profoundly. They show you your weaknesses, reveal what doesn't work, force you to develop, and impart lessons that ease never could. The failure that blocks you is also instructing you, showing you exactly what needs to change, what you need to learn, how you need to grow. If you approach your obstacles as teachers rather than merely as enemies, you'll extract from them a wisdom and knowledge that will advance you far beyond where you'd be without them. The obstacle doesn't just block your path, it teaches you how to walk a better one. Every hard thing carries a lesson, and the person who learns the lesson has turned the obstacle into the way forward. We suffer more often in imagination than in reality. Seneca reminds us that much of the power an obstacle seems to have over us is generated by our own mind's amplification of it, our imagination, making it larger, more permanent, more devastating than it actually is. The obstacle in reality is often something we can face, learn from, and work through. It's the obstacle in our imagination catastrophized, exaggerated, projected endlessly into the future that seems to block us completely. When you meet an obstacle clearly, in reality, stripped of the imagination's amplification, you often find it's far more workable than it seemed. The mind's projection made it a wall. The reality is a hurdle. So part of turning obstacles into the way is refusing to let your imagination inflate them into something more blocking than they truly are. Meet the real obstacle, not the imagined one, and you'll find it far more possible to make it your way forward. The third way obstacles become the way is that they redirect you toward paths you'd never have found. So often, the obstacle that blocks one path is actually redirecting you toward a better one, closing a door so that you're forced to find another, one you'd never have discovered if the first had stayed open. The job you didn't get that led to a better one, the relationship that ended, freeing you for the right one, the plan that failed, forcing you toward a direction that turned out to be your true path. In the moment, these obstacles felt like pure loss, pure blockage. But looking back, you can see that the obstacle was redirecting you, closing the wrong path to open the right one. The Stoics understood that what seems like an obstacle to your plan may be a redirection toward your destiny, and that the blocked path is often the universe's way of turning you toward the path you were actually meant to walk. A gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials. This ancient wisdom captures the truth that the very things that seem to grind against us are the things that polish us into who we're meant to become. The friction of the obstacle, which feels like it's wearing you down, is actually polishing you, refining you, perfecting you, revealing the gem beneath the rough stone. Without the friction, the gem stays dull and unpolished. Without the trials, the person stays unrefined and undeveloped. So the trials you're facing, which feel like they're grinding you down, are actually the friction that polishes you into your finest form. The obstacle is not just blocking you, it's perfecting you, shaping you through its very resistance into the polished, refined, fully developed version of yourself that could only emerge through trial. What feels like destruction is often refinement. Now let me address the hardest cases, because I don't want this to sound like an easy philosophy that only works for minor setbacks. What about genuine tragedy? What about the obstacles that involve real, deep suffering? Loss, grief, trauma, the hardest things a human being can face. Does the obstacle is the way apply even there? The Stoics would say yes, not in a way that minimizes the suffering or pretends it isn't real, but in the sense that even the deepest suffering can become the material of profound growth, meaning, and strength, if we choose to make it so. The person who has suffered deeply and used that suffering well develops a depth, compassion, and wisdom that the untested never have. This does not mean the suffering was good or that you should be grateful for tragedy. It means that even in the worst that life can offer, there remains the possibility of transformation, of taking what happened and making it, somehow, into a source of meaning and strength rather than only destruction. Even the darkest obstacle can, with time and the right response, become part of the way. The art of living is more like wrestling than dancing. Marcus Aurelius understood that life is not a smooth, graceful performance, but a struggle, a grappling with difficulty, a wrestling with obstacles. And this reframe is itself liberating, because it means the struggle is not a sign that something has gone wrong. The struggle is the nature of the thing. The wrestler expects resistance, expects to be tested, expects the fight, and meets it as the very substance of the sport, not an interruption of it. When you understand that life is more like wrestling than dancing, you stop being surprised and defeated by obstacles and start meeting them as the expected substance of a life fully lived. The resistance isn't a sign you're failing, it's a sign you're in the match. And the obstacles you wrestle with are not interruptions of your life. They are your life, the very thing you're here to grapple with and grow through. So, how do you actually do this? How do you take the obstacles in your own life and turn them into the way forward? The Stoics were intensely practical, and their philosophy points toward real methods. Let me give them to you clearly. The first practice is to accept the obstacle fully before trying to work with it. So much of our energy is wasted in raging against the fact that the obstacle appeared in denial, resentment, and the futile wish that it weren't so. But you cannot transform an obstacle you're still fighting the existence of. The first step is acceptance, to acknowledge, clearly and without resistance, that this obstacle is here, that it's real, that it's part of your path now. This is not defeat, it's the opposite. It's the clear-eyed acceptance that frees your energy from useless resistance and makes it available for the real work of transforming the obstacle into the way. Accept that it's here, and then, from that acceptance, begin the work of making it your way forward. Don't demand that things happen as you wish, but wish that they happen as they do, and you will go on well. Epictetus offers one of the most powerful practices for meeting obstacles, aligning yourself with reality rather than fighting it. When you demand that things be other than they are, that the obstacle not have appeared, that the hard thing not have happened, you set yourself against reality and you suffer. But when you accept what has actually happened and work with it rather than against it, you flow with reality and find your power within it. This is not passive resignation. It's the active acceptance that frees you to work skillfully with what is, rather than exhausting yourself fighting what cannot be changed. Accept the obstacle as part of your reality, and then bring all your energy to the question of how to make it your way forward rather than wasting that energy wishing it weren't there. The obstacle is here. The only question is what you'll do with it. The second practice is to actively look for the opportunity, lesson, or path within the obstacle. Once you've accepted that the obstacle is here, shift from, "Why did this happen to me?" to, "What can I do with this? What does this teach me? What opportunity or redirection might be hidden here? How can this make me stronger?" This active search for the way within the obstacle is what actually transforms it. Every obstacle contains, somewhere within it, a lesson to learn, a strength to develop, an opportunity to find, or a redirection to follow, and the person who actively looks for these finds them, while the person who only laments the obstacle stays blocked. Train yourself to ask, of every obstacle, where is the way in this? What is this trying to teach me, develop in me, redirect me toward? The way is in there. Your job is to look for it. The third practice is to take action, to do the next thing you can do, rather than being paralyzed by the obstacle's magnitude. Obstacles often feel overwhelming, and that overwhelm can paralyze us. We see the whole enormous difficulty and freeze. But the Stoic approach is to focus on the next right action, the next thing within your power to do, and to do that, and then the next thing, and the next. You don't have to solve the whole obstacle at once. You just have to take the next step, do the next thing you can do, make the next bit of progress. And through this steady, action-oriented approach, the next step, then the next, you work your way through obstacles that seemed impossible when viewed all at once. Action is the antidote to the paralysis that obstacles create. When you don't know what to do with an obstacle, do the next thing you can do, and let the way reveal itself through your movement. Well-being is realized by small steps, but is truly no small thing. Zeno, the founder of Stoicism, understood that great things, including the transformation of obstacles into the way, are accomplished through small, steady steps rather than single heroic leaps. You don't overcome a great obstacle all at once. You overcome it through a series of small actions, each one small in itself, but together adding up to something that is no small thing at all. So when you face an obstacle that seems too large to overcome, don't look for the one giant solution. Look for the next small step and take it, and then the next. The mountain is climbed one step at a time. The obstacle is transformed one small action at a time. And through these small steps, steadily taken, what seemed like an immovable obstacle gradually becomes the very path you walk forward on. The fourth practice is to remember, in the middle of the obstacle, that you have transformed obstacles before. Look back at your own life. Every difficult thing you've already survived, every obstacle you once thought would destroy you, every setback you've already worked through, you're still here. And many of those obstacles became, in time, sources of strength, wisdom, or redirection. You have already turned obstacles into the way, many times, whether you realized it or not. And this memory is powerful in the middle of a current obstacle, because it reminds you that this one too can be transformed, that you've done it before and can do it again. The obstacle in front of you feels uniquely impossible, but you've faced impossible-feeling obstacles before and made them your way. Trust that you can do it again. The evidence is your own survival and growth, standing here, having already walked through so much that once stood in your way. Here is what the Stoics ultimately understood, and what I want you to carry out of all of this. The obstacles in your life are not interruptions of your journey, they are your journey. The pain, the failures, the setbacks, the hard things you would give anything to avoid, these are not separate from the path to who you're meant to become. They are the path. They are the very material out of which strength, wisdom, depth, and character are forged. And the person who understands this stops living in fear of obstacles, stops being defeated by them, and starts meeting them as the raw material of their own becoming. They know that whatever stands in their way is not their enemy, but their teacher, not a wall, but a road. Not a thing that stops them, but a thing that met rightly advances them toward everything they're meant to be. And this transforms not just how you handle specific obstacles, but how you move through your entire life. Because when you truly understand that what stands in the way becomes the way, you lose the deep fear of obstacles that keeps most people small and cautious. You stop needing your life to be free of difficulty. Stop being destroyed when hard things come. Stop seeing setbacks as evidence that your life has gone wrong. Instead, you meet each obstacle with a kind of calm confidence, knowing that this too can be transformed, that this too is part of your path, that this too can be made into a source of strength. You become, in the deepest sense, unstoppable, not because obstacles stop appearing, but because you've learned to turn every one of them into your way forward. The person who can transform any obstacle into the way is a person that no obstacle can ultimately defeat. So the choice before you is the Stoic choice, offered across 2,000 years. You can continue seeing your obstacles as enemies raging against them, being defeated by them, living in fear of them, experiencing every hard thing as a wall that blocks your path. Or you can learn the deepest truth the Stoics ever taught, that what stands in the way becomes the way. You can accept your obstacles, look for the way within them, take the next action, and transform them, one by one, into sources of strength, wisdom, and redirection. One path is a life at the mercy of every difficulty. The other is a life in which every difficulty becomes fuel, a life of resilience, growth, and quiet power, lived by a person who has learned to turn the very things that stand in their way into the way forward. So I'll leave you with the only question that matters. Will you keep being defeated by the obstacles in your path? Or will you learn to transform them into the way and become the kind of person that no obstacle can ultimately stop? If you're ready to change how you meet every hard thing in your life, if you truly want to turn your pain into power and your obstacles into the way forward, then comment, "The obstacle is the way below right now." Speak it into existence. Make that promise to yourself. Because the people who change their lives are the ones who decide, clearly and out loud, that they will, and this is your moment to decide. Because the obstacles will keep coming, that's certain, for you and for everyone. Life will keep placing hard things in your path, setbacks you didn't expect and pain you didn't choose. But from this moment on, you can meet them differently. You can know, in the depths of you, that what stands in your way is not there to stop you. It's there to become your way. And the moment you truly understand that, you become someone that obstacles no longer defeat, but forge, no longer block, but advance. Until one day you look back and see that everything that ever stood in your way became, in the end, the very road that carried you to who you were always meant to become.